Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of Educational Network's Back to School Expo, and welcome to Featuring Teacher Pages. I am your host, Ryan Clancy, and I'm the Client Success Manager here at Educational Networks. I'm excited to have each and every one of you joining us today for our presentation. Teacher pages are a great tool to be able to use throughout the school year. They're great also to help us take the learning experience online. Before we go in and start working on a teacher page, we have a little bit of a game plan for our training session. What we're going to start with today is we're going to start by taking a look at a really cool example. And along the way, I'm going to discuss the various options that you will have available to you when you're going in and you're building out your teacher page. From there, we'll get started. I'm going to go in and discuss logging in and also how we can use our page editor. The great thing is that when you're building out your very own teacher page, you do have access to the page editor. You can go in, add photos. We have content blocks that are specifically created for quotes even as well. So a lot of really cool options and things that are going to really allow you to go in and to be able to make your teacher page your very own. From there, we're going to see how you can also have your very own calendar on your school's website. That's something too that is very, very cool. So we'll talk about that. And along with that as well, how you can even add photos as well. From there, we'll go in, we'll conclude our training session. We're going to talk about some of the great resources that you have available to you for your teacher page as well. All right, everyone, let's go in. Let's get started. Visiting the homepage of Green Tech High School, where we're going to go to find teacher pages, and this is something that's important to note. The main way that parents and staff, or parents and students, I should say, are going to navigate to your teacher page is going to be through the staff directory. So let's say that I am the parent of a student who is in Mr. Evans' class. Well, what I do is I go in, I click staff directory, and I go in and I find his profile. He's using a lot of great options here. So starting with his page that he has set up for his teacher introduction, one of the things that we're going in and we're seeing here is that he is making great use of the content blocks on the page. We see that he's using the center photo content block, and of course, he's using the traditional text-based content block as well. But along with that is he is going in and also making use of tables. Now, keep in mind, these are not the only content blocks that you have available to you. You do have content blocks that feature both text and photos. That's great if you want to go in, when you're going in and wanting to add on a teacher introduction, that can be really a great option. And along with that, quotes. So if you want to put inspiring quotes, one quote that maybe comes to mind is, you know what Neil Armstrong said when he landed on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That would be a great quote to go in and to include there as well. So the page editor is going to really offer you a lot of options. And also too, and we're going to see this, it has an easy way to make it so you can add files and you can make your page, you can give it a seamless look. So that's going to be something else that we're going to go in and have a chance to go in and to be able to see today. Looking over here as well, we do see that Mr. Evans is going in and he does have a calendar. Now, of course, the school year has concluded. So right now we do have past events, but he is going in and using the calendar in a very, very neat way. And what that is he's going in and he's sharing about major assignments, specifically tests. So it can really be a great way for students to be able to keep track of major assignments like this as well. Now, if we look back over at his introductory page, we'll notice right at the bottom of the screen that there is also an option here for classes. So he is making use of the classes and homework module. That's a really neat feature. You can go in and use that to allow students to be able to turn in homework assignments online. That will be something that we're going to be taking a look at during our next presentation here. So definitely something. We hope you join us for that as well. It should be a lot of fun too. But nonetheless, he has an awesome example. He's created an awesome teacher page. Along with this too, one thing else that's worth pointing out now, in regards to whether or not your teacher page is going to have this, will depend from school to school. If we go in, we click email address, it has this email contact form. This is neat. This actually goes right over to your email. So what's cool about that is you don't have to check any additional areas for messages. So if parents do have questions, this can be a great way to go in and for them to be able to go in and reach out to you. So we've now had the opportunity, everyone, to take a look at a really cool example of a teacher page. Let's go in and get started with building one of our very own. What I'm showing you today, everyone, how we're going to go in and build out this new teacher page. To do this, what we're going to be using is our new admin system or a new CMS. This is what's going to offer us the use of that all new page editor, which is cool. So I'm going to start by going in and logging in. It's worth noting that our new CMS, CMS3, makes it easier to log in. And the reason being is that you can actually log in pretty much from anywhere on the website. Let's go in, everybody, and let's take a closer look. So let's say that I'm a teacher at Green Tech High School and I want to go in and I want to build out my teacher page. Let's say that I am looking at my teacher page on the staff directory. Now, right now it is just that email contact form. But what's neat here is if I'm ready to go in and I'm ready to log in, I can sign in on this page as well. But in this case, I want to show something. We're going to sign in on from the home page. So let's go in, let's sign in. All right, everyone. Now, once we're signed in, we're going to see this toolbar right at the bottom of the screen. Now, remember to go in and to sign in. I realized that I did that without mentioning the keys you need to press. So let's go in, go back and take a look at that. My apologies. To go in and to sign in to the new CMS, you can sign in from anywhere on your school's website. What you need to do, though, is you need to pull up the login window, and you will go in and use your keyboard so you can do this. Here's how you want to go about doing this. If you're going in and you're using a PC on your keyboard, you want to double click the control key. Whereas if you're going in and you're using a Mac, what you'll want to do instead is you'll want to go in and double click command. So depending on which key you press, you go in and double click it, and then we'll have that login window appear. Now what happens here is as soon as we signed in, we'll have this toolbar appear right at the bottom of the screen. It's going to be this toolbar that is going to give you access to be able to edit everything that you need to go in and everything that you need to edit. There's a couple of ways for you to get to where you need to be to start working on a teacher page. One of the ways you can do that is actually just by going to the staff directory and going in and clicking on your page, and that will go in and bring you to where you need to be to start working on your page. There's actually an easier option and really something that's going to be more direct though. If you go over here to the menu button and you click my pages, that'll also bring you to your page as well. All right. So that's something there that is important to note there. All right, everyone. Hi, Nicole. I do see you're mentioning that you don't see a toolbar. No worries there. when you go in and as soon as you signed in, what you'll see is you'll see at the bottom of the screen, it'll look like this right here. So you have that main menu button on the left. And then also with that too, you'll have either a profile icon or your profile photo. And then with that as well, you'll have this grid button too. And you can actually use that to reach out to our tech support team. We'll go in and take a look at that a little bit later on. Thank you for letting me know about that, Nicole. Just let me know if you have any questions and I will be happy to help. All right, everyone. So now that we've found our way to our teacher page, we can go in and get started with going in and adding on a teacher introduction. Here's how we want to go in and go about doing that. What we need to do is we need to add a page for that teacher introduction. Anytime you're adding a new page or adding a second or subsequent page, these steps will be the same. Once you're on your page, you can go down over here to this blue arrow, it'll be right next to your name. You click on this, you'll go to this section, and then from here, you'll click New Page. And once you do that, you'll see here that you have all of these wonderful options. You see how you can have your own calendar, your own photo album. But in this case, what I want to do is I want to use that new page editor. To do that, I actually just keep it on our default option of other. That is what's going to give you the page editor. And you simply need to go in and title it. So I'll say this is going to be like the home page for my teacher page. As soon as you go in and you create the page, right away, you are brought into the page editor. Something that you'll notice right away is that if you bring your mouse up towards the top of the page, you will have a content block that is ready for you to go in and it's ready for you to use. Now, that being said, you don't have to use this one specifically, but it is definitely something that you can use if you would like to. Let's go in and let's take a closer look here, everybody. Now, if I highlight over the text, that does bring up the formatting options as well. So we do have, of course, where we can now go in. This is actually something new. We can change the font, and you do have a selection of ADA compliant colors. But also a neat way for you to make your teacher page more accessible. And then also a neat way to go in and to add files on as well. So we're going to have a chance, everybody, to go in and to be able to take a look at all these here. So let's go in and add on my teacher introduction. All right, so I'm just going to go in. I'm going to copy this from this app. Perfect. So taking a look at this here, everybody, one of the things that we will notice when we're going in, we're copying and we are pasting our introduction in, we're going to notice here that if we right click, there isn't going to be an option to copy or to paste. That's okay though. We can still definitely go in and we're able to do both, but we're going to want to use our keyboard to do this. So what we want to remember to do specifically when we're pasting content in is if we're using a PC, we want to go in and we want to click Control V. Whereas if we're using a Mac, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go in and click Command V. And once we go in and do this, we're going to see that we've successfully added our introduction on. Now this looks pretty good, but I definitely want to make some changes. And you know, one of the changes that I want to go in and make with this is I want to start by going in and adding on a heading to go with it. One of the things that's really cool about headings is that it truly is, whoops, we're going to leave that be. I accidentally clicked something there. That's okay. This is something that you can do. It's an easy step that you can take to make a page like this more accessible. So I'm going to actually change this text here from hi there to read out, welcome. Now, the reason that headings make something like this more accessible is that they do go in and they give structure to a page like this here. So that's something that is important to note. That allows screen reading programs to make it easier for anyone who's using the programs to be able to navigate a page like this. So my first heading, this is like my introductory content, so it'll be just welcome. And I go in, I highlight over this as a general rule, not something by any means that's absolute, but generally speaking, we are going to want to go in and set this up here as heading 1. And it does change the size of the text, but along with that as well, what it also is going to go in and do too is it codes it as a heading, and that's what's most important for that. Now let's go in and say we want to add something on. We want to add a helpful link. So it mentions here that I'm a marine biology teacher. But before we add on that link, let's go in and add on that second heading. To do this here, I'm just going to type it in. So important links. Now, one way to think of headings, now keeping in mind that when we're adding these on, it's not absolute that we're going to go in order, but I have to ask myself a question. One way of thinking of headings is like you're ranking the content. You're kind of creating a hierarchy of the content on your page. So I have to ask myself, are our important links on the same level of that hierarchy as our introductory content? It's not. So for that reason, what we're going to use instead is we will set this up as heading 2. Let's add on a link for NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. To start this off, to add on that link, I'm going to simply go in and add on our title. Now, for this here, I'm ready to link the actual URL to this text. Here's how we want to go about doing that. So I'm just going to go in and actually copy that. Actually, you know what? Let's change this to Khan Academy. To do this, I'll start off just by going in, copying that, and then I highlight over our text. And this is really cool. I go in, I click the link icon, and I just paste the URL in. Because this is a link to an outside website, it is going to be best that we make sure that this URL is in fact going to open up in a new tab. So I do make sure to go in and to check that box. And once that's ready to go, we go in and click Create Link. Now let's go in and add on a file. So maybe like a syllabus. So for this here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to title this new section. So this is another new section on the page, so it will be another heading. So to add on that other heading, I'm going to title this Helpful Documents. So we have to ask ourselves that question again. Which heading do we set helpful documents to? In this case, this is one of those exceptions. This is on the same level of the hierarchy of the content hierarchy on our page. So for that reason, this is also going to be set up as heading 2, just as we went in and set up important links. I highlight over this. Now I switch that there to heading 2. Now we have a really, really cool way that we can go in and add files on. So I'm going to type in this. We'll type this on. We'll type in syllabus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. Just a moment. Perfect. So what I do now, so to link this file to text, and this helps promote a very seamless look on this page, all we do is we highlight over the text. And then just as we did with this link, we go to the link icon, but instead we switch this to document, and check this out here. This is something really cool. We go in, we click, drag, and drop, just like that there. And what's great here is when we go in or when parents and students open that file up, it will open up the actual document too. So this is a great way to give your introductory page or any page in your teacher page a more seamless look. And that would be any page created with the page editor. Now let's take a look at that for ourselves. So let's see. If I try to open that file up, or even this link for Khan Academy, if I try to do that right now, nothing happens. That's okay. That's by design. The reason for that is we are still in edit mode. So what we need to do is we need to go in and we need to toggle from edit mode on over to live mode. To do this, I'm going to make sure I save first. And from here, I'm going to go in and click on this feather button. I go in, click on the syllabus. We can see that we've successfully opened that up there. So that's something there that is important to know. And then with that too, what you'll want to remember with that, so when you are going in and you're toggling from edit mode to live mode, and what's great is you can do this all the while you get to stay logged in. When it's red, you're in edit mode. Whereas when it's clear like this, instead, you're going to be in live mode. So we've seen how to add on some great content here. Let's take a look. Hi, Adeline. No worries. To save this here, all you need to do, just at the bottom of the page, right next to the emoji button, you'll have this here. You'll have the save button here. So it'll be just located right next to the feather button, just like that there. All right, everybody. So we've seen already how to go in and to add on some great content. We've added documents, links. Let's go in now and add on a photo. To add on a photo, what we'll need to do is we need to add on a new content block. To add on a different content block, you want to follow these steps. What you do is you take your mouse, you bring it inside of an existing content block like this, and you go in, you right click, select either insert above or insert below. So in this case, I select insert below, and I find the content block I want to use. So we see that we have all of these wonderful options, tables, where we can add quotes as well, so inspiring quotes. And then also where we can add content blocks with photos as well. So in this case, I want to go in and use this one here. I click on this, and as soon as I click on that, that adds the content block to the page, and now it's ready for us to go in and to add on our very own image. Let's go in and take a look and see how to do that. So I'm just going to go to where I have this stored. Just a moment. All right, so let's see. I just want to find a photo. It mentions I'm a marine biology teacher, so I want to find a photo related to that. You see it here. This is really cool. To add this photo on, I simply go in and I click, drag, and drop, just like that there. Now, once I do that, I have some additional options. I can go in, everybody. I can expand this out a little bit, so we'll do that. One thing else that we may notice here as well is that the spacing between this content block and this one right here, it's really not the best. So that's going to be definitely something we want to fix. And we do this simply by going in. We bring our mouse to the top. You'll always do this with the lower content block. And then you can go in, you can actually bring it down by up to 20 pixels. And that greatly improves the spacing between these two blocks that we have on this particular page. All right, everyone. So we've gone in and we have seen how we can add content using the page editor. Now, it looks like we have a question. What we'll look at next, though, is we're going to go in and take a look and see how we can have our own calendars as well. Oh, hi, Adeline. You're welcome. Just let me know if you have any other questions. All right, everyone. So what we're going to take a look at here is we're going to see first how we can have our own calendar, and then after that, also how we can have our very own photo album too. Now, calendars has lots of great uses. It is great to post about major class events such as field trips, posting about major assignments as well. Now, adding to it is designed to be very easy. What's great is when you add a calendar event, and you'll actually see something similar even in our next webinar when we're working on classes. Essentially, all you're doing is you're filling out an online form. So let's say that I'm teaching summer school and I want to post about our very first test. To do this here, what I'll do is I'll go over to this blue triangle. So we want to remember anytime that we're adding a second or a subsequent page, we are always going to navigate over here to this arrow. We then go to this section, and from here, we go to new page. And on this next window, we can choose from any of these options. So in this case, I go in and I select calendar. Now we've added the calendar. It's important to note that there won't be a page, there won't be a link for your calendar on the menu on the left until you've added your very first event. Same thing holds true for photo albums. Until you have your first album, even if you click that button, that will not appear until that you have that very first album on there. So let's go in and let's add on our event. So to do this, I simply go in, I click add event, and we just go in, we fill this out here. So I'll type something in here such as chapter 1 test. Once I do this here, what I can do next is I'll go over here to our calendar and I'll choose the date for this. So we'll say it's going to be a week from today. And then all I'll need to do is I need to set the times for this too. So I'll set this here for 12 p.m. all the way up until 5 p.m. And actually, you know what? This is a test. Now that I think of it, we don't really need a time for that. So we'll leave that be. And then for location, we'll just type in my room number. Perfect. Now, underneath this, you have a description. So this is a great place. You know, if you're going in and you're announcing a field trip, you can go in and use this to share some important details about that, what students should bring. For something such as a test or a major assignment, we may want to share the details of that particular assignment. So for the test, maybe I want to share what's going to be covered. So I'm just going to go here, just a moment. Copy this. Now we're going to paste this into this text editor, which itself is a very important part of the entire website. It's something you see in lots of different places. And it is important to note that this text editor does work the same as any other word processor, really. You know, you have a lot of those same formatting options. Before you go in and you paste anything in here, though, what you want to do, if you are going to copy or paste, you do just want to put text in here. You just want to make sure you switch this to plain text. I go in, I paste this in. And once I do that, I can absolutely switch it back to rich formatting. You know, I can go in, make text bold or underlined, format the text, how it's structured. One thing I always like to do with this is that I can go in and add on a horizontal rule. I find that especially for calendar events, it really helps with the organization of it. That's why I add that on. Perfect. And of course, just worth noting, you can go in and add on links and URLs here as well. So as we see, adding to something such as calendars, we're really just going in and we're filling out an online form. Now, though, I can go in and add a file. And it's important to remember here, the same way that you'll add a file to an email, that's exactly the same way you'll add this here. In this case, so I want to add a photo. So to do this, I go in, I click Choose File. And I find the image I want to use. So in this case here, we'll use this. We click Open. Now, all I need to do to make it so that this is going to appear on my teacher pages, I just need to go in and click Save. We go in, We refresh the screen. Now, something I want to point out, sometimes you're going to see this where when you add the calendar on, the calendar is actually placed at the very top of your teacher page. And this is going to be something you'll want to adjust. Cool thing is, it's very easy to do that. What we do is we go to the blue arrow, go to this section, and we just select change page order. We'll just go in and move that down to be underneath home. Now, if we go in, we click on the calendar, we can see now that we've gone in and we've successfully added on our very first event. All righty, everyone. So we've seen how we can add a calendar, but you know what's something that's really, really cool is that you can have, basically for your school's website, you have unlimited storage for both photos and for videos. Let's see how we can go in and add on our very own photo album. To do this, it's important to note that with photo albums, what's cool about it is it's going to be very easy for us to add to. Now, we're not filling out a form. Instead, the website's going to walk us through each and every step. Our first step for this is we go over to that menu button. We go to this section. And then from here, we go to new page. We then go to photo album. So those steps are, once again, they're going to be very much the same when anytime you're adding a new page, regardless as to what type of page it is. So let's say I want to add a photo album for Marine Biology 100. To do this here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to click Create My First Album. I add the title on, so Marine Biology 100. And then after I do this, I select Update Album Info, click Upload Photos, click Choose Files. Now, it's great here too, and this is going to be something that's going to make this a lot easier, is we can absolutely go in and add multiple photos at once. To do this, you're going to use your keyboard. If you're going in and you're using a PC, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold the Control key, whereas if you're going in and you're using a Mac, what you'll want to do instead is you'll want to hold the Command key. So I hold the Command key, and I choose the photos that I want to go in and I want to add on. And then we'll add this one here. Perfect. I click Open. Once I do that, all I need to do to post this new album is I just need to go in and click Upload. And as soon as this finishes loading, this will be live and be a part of our teacher pages. Now, that being said, and this holds true for the vast majority of your teacher page, really the only thing, and actually I think for pretty much your entire teacher page, is that you can always go back in and make changes to any of the content that you have added on here. And that does include the photo album. So it doesn't really apply here because we don't have two separate albums yet. But if we were to have that, what we can do is if we need to edit this, we can make changes such as going in and changing the cover photo here. And we do that simply by going in and clicking Make Cover. So that's something there that's pretty cool. All righty, everyone. Well, at this time, I am happy to answer any questions you have. Remember to ask questions. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up the chat window. That can be accessed by clicking on that little bubble icon, and I will be happy to help with those questions. In the meantime, I'd like to show you where you can go to be able to reach out to our tech support team. One of the ways that you can reach out to tech support is by going over here to our grid button and then heading over here to Help Desk. What we do next is we go in, we click Create a Ticket, and essentially what we're doing is we're filling out the form. This is really going to be a great place for you to go to be able to ask any questions. Along with that as well, one thing we suggest is that it's best to be as detailed as possible, and that's going to be something that's going to help our team complete your ticket a little bit more quickly. I did want to go in and mention there is another great tool that you have here. You may have noticed that we have an interesting looking button here at the bottom of the screen. You have this emoji icon. This is great here because you can click on this And what this is going to do is it's going to provide you with recommendations. So I select this here, I click on this, and what's being suggested is that we go in and we add on alt text. Now, this improves accessibility. The reason is it has to do with how screen reading programs, how they're going to work. Without there being alternative text or an image being marked as decorative, what will happen is the screen reading program will go in and actually read out the file name. And if I open up my file browser, I'll see a lot of the photos. The file name does not necessarily reflect what is actually on that photo. Now, there's no coding required for alternative text. We simply go in, we right-click, select accessibility, and then we have our options. We can mark it as decorative if the image really isn't part of the main content. But in this case, this image is. So I select alternative text, and I'll type in our field trip to the tide pools. We click apply. I save the page once again, click on the emoji icon, and now that lets us know that our page does in fact look good. All right, looks like we have a question here. And this question here comes to us from Rachel, and this is an excellent question. Rachel asks, are we able to create multiple albums with the photo page? Absolutely. You can definitely go in and do that. Absolutely. In that case, what you would do, we go over here to photo album. What we do in this case here is we go over to this page, edit photo album, and we can add on a second album by going in, clicking create album, and then going in and entering the album name over here for that. All right. That's an excellent question there, Rachel. Please let me know if you have any other questions and I'll be happy to help. Our next question here comes to us from Lynn. Lynn asks, when uploading photos to an album, do you suggest uploading in batches if you have a lot of pictures? I've noticed a long lag time. That can be helpful. That can help go in and reduce that way. It may in certain aspects allow you to go in and to be able to add new photos a little bit more quickly for that. It's an excellent question, Lynn. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today for our webinar and joining us today for our first ever Back to School Expo. I hope to see you in just about 12:30, so a little over 20 minutes. We're going to be starting our spotlight on classes and homework. If you are looking to go in and to be able to allow your students to accept homework assignments online, this is going to be a really great webinar to see. Your site does have that capability to go in and to do that, which is really, really cool. Remember, everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I do have my email address listed here as well as my phone number. And as I always like to say, everybody, keep inspiring those future generations. And I look forward to seeing you all again really, really soon. Take care, everybody. Oh, and I have a great question here. This is a great question here from Samuel. Samuel asks, will I be able to get this recording so I go back through this information? Absolutely. So we will be going in once this is ready to go. It should be sometime next week. We're going to be going in and posting our recordings from that we've created here for our Back to School Expo. Definitely. So you want to go in and look at that. Look for that. You want to go over to our company YouTube channel for that. But definitely. Thank you, Samuel. It's an excellent question. You're welcome, Samuel.